Hi ninjas, how are you doing? It's your girl Owamie, aka the only Miss Fear Focal in this YouTube streets. If it's your first time joining me, I'm most definitely welcome. Please do make sure that I subscribed and obviously hit the bell. I absolutely love you. Now my ninjas, yeah, today has been quite a hectic day for me. I don't even want to lie. But before we get into this video, do you guys see this beauty that is behind me? That is Drapia luxury curtains and blinds, Shubabamke. If you want to get yourself some gorgeous curtains and blinds, contact them. I'm sure their numbers will have pulled up here, and trust and believe they will do a great job for you. Okay, I can guarantee you that much. And again, if you see this quality, of course, what's there not to love about it? Mpande Studios is the best. Go ahead and send us a message and we can be able to book you. You can start your own channel. We also give services where we can even literally upload for you. Think about that. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into this Chende. Now, there's a thank you button, guys. There's a thank you button somewhere there. I do want you guys to actually like go crazy, please, because I had to sit and watch majority of this whole Chende just so that I can actually summarize for you guys. And I do have to say that I am quite shocked by certain things that I saw, and also just not shocked, but just like, wow, like, okay, like, it's subs. What do you actually expect? So today, guys, Mr. Vusimuzi Kat Malala was before Parliament's ADHOC committee, right? And he was there to give his testimony. Now, if you know anything about Kat Malala, or anything that we've heard of Kat Malala, is this dangerous man that is very scary, that is quite charming if you just look at pictures, and he is just like a scary individual, like at a point where I know I call myself Miss Fearful, but when it comes to this Chende, I fear. So remove the focal, I beg, you know. But yeah, this whole situation, I think, is just one of the most rotten to the core type of thing, type of Chende that South Africa has ever really proper come across. You know, I mean, if you are someone that has been listening to everything that has been going on, you will actually realize that South Africa is way more corrupt than we, majority of us, had even ever thought. And it is quite bad because it also exposes us to the rest of the world and shows them that we basically have no security, because subs is supposed to be our forefront. They're supposed to be our frontliners. They're supposed to be the ones that protect us. But due to corruption that has literally rotted the entire subs, like in my personal opinion, I feel like rotten to the core, you know. If we're at a position where we have to pick police officers that are not corrupt from those that are corrupt, I feel like it's really bad. And if the leadership is also being accused of corruption and everything, like, you just have to understand that it is quite bad, because majority of the times whenever we're talking about police officers, we're talking about corruption, which is obviously horrible. So Kat Malala is just one of those people that, you know, tenders, I think it's 360 million rands, or let me say over 300, almost 400 million rands tender that obviously had to do with subs and everything, and he obviously got arrested for what? For attempted murder of his girlfriend, which is not something, or ex-girlfriend, which is not something to laugh about. But looking at all the other stuff that we've actually heard that this guy has done, that have been alleged, you would actually see that, wow, like, it was something that you wouldn't even expect that actually got him caught, you understand, or rather put behind bars, because he's still a suspect. It is nothing that has been proven as of yet, you understand. But anyway, let's go ahead and start off by what was basically happening there. As I did say that I had quite a rough day. So when I was doing my makeup, I was actually listening to the statements live. Afterwards, I obviously had to go to the office and I had to shoot. When I came back, that was when I actually had to continue. So I didn't start with it from the beginning, but I did get, like, you know, from the middle and obviously towards the end. I wouldn't say from the middle, you know, maybe an hour in, something like that. But I'm gonna go ahead and just give you guys a summary of everything that I actually got, right? So Kat Malala, basically, from what I understood, is that he basically, I wouldn't call him an ice boy, but he is somebody that I feel like definitely got used, and I think he knows that. But when they're asking him questions, he is kind of like, he was giving me vibes of acting like he doesn't understand the question that is being asked. And I think that was one thing that was quite annoying to me. The fact that it would be like a literal simple question, and he will keep on trying to ask questions about it, and you are just like, sir, it's a simple question answer, you know. That's the first thing that I'm gonna say about this, that I did feel like, you know, it was unnecessarily long because of he made it longer. He would just act like he's not understanding these questions that way. I felt like plain and simple. Maybe he was just trying to be very, very careful because obviously he didn't want to incriminate himself. But for me, it just did not make sense. The second thing I'll also say is that he did not answer every single question, especially even when it came to the Tembisa tender that you guys know, the 2 billion rands that got looted. Kat Matlala's name also got brought up. He did clarify here and there, but with certain stuff he was like, you know what, I don't want to implicate myself because this is already getting investigated. Which, I will not lie to you, if I was guilty, I would pull the exact same stunt. Like, I know that they kept on saying, no, this will not be used against you, blah, blah, blah. But let's not lie. That was definitely going to get the detectives on the right direction. It was like handing them a map to say, listen, you want to arrest me? Here's a map. Go and find it out. And then come back and arrest me. And of course, that's something that they couldn't guarantee, that they couldn't use it and go find information and then come back and arrest him for stuff like that. So I do feel that it was a smart move on his part, obviously, to say that he's not going to talk about this because this is something that is being investigated. But at the same time, to me, it just said, you are definitely guilty. Because I feel like, and again, this is my opinion, because for me, if I am innocent, I wouldn't have an issue. I wouldn't be implicated in anything because I would be innocent. But if I wasn't, this is the stunt that I would definitely pull. Which again, if you watch me on TikTok or you follow me, you would see that I was like, you know, it did show me that it does seem like the law is definitely just designed, you know, for me, for criminals to get away with it. You know, there's so many loopholes for a criminal to get away with it. And it's for the fact that you can stand in front of parliamentary and say that I won't answer that because I don't want to be implicated. And it's just like, aren't you supposed to just tell the truth? Aren't you just supposed to just answer all the questions? Like, who is higher than the parliament? Because I feel like, I don't know, even the judges, should they not still follow the rules that are created by the parliament? So who's bigger, who's greater, you know? But he was allowed, and I do remember because when I went to work, it was the time that there was a break when they said that they were going to talk to his lawyers. Not 100% sure when they came back if the lawyers had discussed whatever, but I know that today was not the last day. So tomorrow's one, I pray to God that I'm going to catch everything from beginning to end, and I'm of course going to report back to you because this I'm very much interested in, right? So there are certain things that I felt he said that I do believe Kat Malala. I will not even lie, because two things can be right at the same time, and I've said this many times. You can be the villain and also a victim, and I feel like there's now a new trend in South Africa, and especially with our law and system, is that, you know, they do know the criminals. They do know how to go and catch the criminals. The only thing is, when they catch the criminals, they basically want to say, continue with your criminology, just be giving us money. That's my opinion. I feel like it's becoming a trend. This is one of those things that I feel happened with Bushiri as well, or Bushiri alleged, and now it is Kat Malala. And I'm just not shocked, honestly. So he's saying that, you know, a bunch of cops, they came into his house, no warrant, no nothing. And they basically, harassed him, and they took his pistols, like his guns. They took his expensive watches. Or rather, I don't know if I should call it watches or what is watch, right? Timepieces. I think like there's a certain point where the money just doesn't allow you to just say watch, timepiece or something. But anyway, they took some of those. They took some of his gadgets. Okay, and then obviously, he was harassed. He also then says that they did even go back. He wasn't home, and unfortunately his wife was there, and they did actually brutalize his wife. Says that his wife still has bruises, or rather I don't know, like maybe marks, I don't know, of when the cops those guys went there and they wanted Kat Malala, and he wasn't home, and they claimed that she was basically hiding him. Okay, now if there's anything that our South African, our subs, members are not really beating, is that they're greedy, they're criminals themselves, is that they will use the law against you for their benefits, but literally not in a legal way. So they will abuse their power, and for me, from how they're described, they're criminaler than most criminals. That's honestly my personal opinion, okay? So he says that they went there, they did all that. He went to the police station to try open a case, and the case was not opened. All of a sudden, he gets a call, and this call is saying that I've got a guy that can actually help solve your problems. And guess who this guy is? None other than our very own Bheki Cele. Okay, Bheki Cele is the one that allegedly was the guy that was supposed to make Kat Matlala's problems disappear. He drove to Durban, and one thing about Kat Malala, he would drive to that Durban, okay? He would drive. He gets there. When he gets there, he meets Cele, and then Cele basically says to him that, listen, you have to close the case, and I'll basically make this whole thing disappear for you, So he does that. He calls his lawyers. They close the case. Cele calls one Khumalo, and they speak over the phone, and he's told to go and collect his guns, which he does, which I guess would mean that whatever it is that was being investigated is not there. He didn't say anything about like his timepieces and also his gadgets, whether if they were returned to him or not, or let me say if he said that, I just didn't get that part. And then after that, obviously, it continues. He says that not too long after that, couple of months down the line, Bheki Cele obviously comes back to collect, to say that I've once helped you, you're not even thanking me, you're not even doing anything for me. And that was when he gave Bheki Cele a whole 300,000 rands cash. Okay, he then goes on to claim that obviously there were many people that were involved in this thing of him having to, I guess, like I don't know if it was to get his case cleared or whatever it is that is supposed to be done with them criminals and cops, allegedly, but that's why he had to give in that amount of money. Another sum of 200,000 rands was then given. So allegedly he gave Bheki Cele like 500,000 rands, you understand. Now he says that Bheki Cele kept on calling him for money, to a point where even Kat Malala was like, nigga, I'm tired, I ain't got no money. I had to explain that subs ain't even, the contracts are not giving me as much money as you guys think, but Cele was here, he wants money. Allegedly. Until Kat Malala actually went on to stop taking Cele's calls. And when he stopped taking Cele's calls, he says that at one point he had 20 missed calls. Matlala wanted money. He says that not long after that, that was when he got arrested. Okay, he also then goes on to talk about our very own Mukhwanazi. He says that he met up with General Mukhwanazi, and he says that that meeting was basically organized by Bheki Cele, right? So now the issue was that I guess with the tender, they were no longer giving him what he wanted or was enough with, and so he had to now meet up with a guy. And then Bheki Cele, obviously knowing his issues and wanting his guy to obviously also make money, allegedly, Bheki Cele then organizes a meeting with Mukhwanazi, and then he meets up with Mukhwanazi, and he says that Mukhwanazi was now basically telling him that, you know, the plan for this was to just dissolve the contract. You're gonna lose the contract, because he said a name, and it's of a woman, I just forgot her name, that she's basically getting more money from this other side. So she obviously is gonna go with these guys that are giving her money, and then apparently she's now buying properties and turning them into Airbnbs, and of course those are stuff that she wouldn't be able to do with her sub salary. So, you know, now it's at a point where they're asking that, you know, if you are going to get these tenders and you're gonna get, you know, the large sums, you need to butter her bread the same way that those guys are buttering, or maybe up it a bit. Like, I would just assume you'd have to up it so that you can beat the other guys, so that a bread is buttered. So for me, I really fully didn't understand like how important her role is into this. Is she the one that holds the tenders in her hands? I really don't know, but she was somehow a key player, because that was when Kat Malala says it himself as well, that, you know, he did find himself in that he was in deeper waters than, you know, he had actually thought. Now he then goes on to say that our very own Mkhwanazi, yes, Mkhwanazi, wanted Kat Malala to make a problem of his disappear, which was that, you know, there was a guy that he said that he stays in midstream, and the guy actually was tortured by Mkhwanazi. These are the allegations that Kat is saying, by the way. And then, you know, he basically wanted Kat to make his problem disappear. Okay, so this is the part where and then he also says that Mkhwanazi wanted Kat to make his problem disappear with that guy, but then he had to make it in a way that he's gonna say that guy it was wanted, but again, so it was supposed to be pinned on Mkhunu and Sibia. This is what Kat Malala is basically saying, right? And then he says that he knew the guy. Their children went to the same school, so he now had to tell his wife to perhaps maybe, you know, talk to the wife so that they could meet. And then they got a meeting, and the guy ended up telling him that he wasn't the only one that was assaulted, or rather tortured. Even his brother-in-law and another guy who apparently he even lost his voice after the whole ordeal. And then they were saying that I guess Mukhwanazi was being sued for 10 million rands or something like that. That's something that I actually heard. And yeah, that's when Mukhwanazi wanted, you know, Kat Malala to basically help him with this. Now, let me be honest with you. I don't believe it. Call me biased. I don't care. I personally don't believe it. Now, again, as I'm saying, right, he is still going to continue, because I think he's going to be giving testimonies until Friday. But I personally I do not believe him. Because, okay, let's say you were to go meet General Mukhwanazi for help. If you were to go meet, if this meeting was being facilitated so that Mukhwanazi will be able to help you when it comes to this whole tender that you are talking about, right? It means that you're losing power. Things are not going your way in order for you to go to him so that he will go to another person, because they're claiming that Cele said he wasn't as close to the guy that was supposed to do this for him, but Mukhwanazi is. So they were supposed to go to Mukhwanazi so that Mukhwanazi will be able to take you to the guy that's supposed to go to. For me, my logic is that if you are coming to me for help, I will see you as weak. So high chances of me asking you to help me, I feel like they would definitely be low. That's just my opinion. And I feel like it is too coincidental that, guys, even if it's a do you know how huge midstream is? Do you know how huge midstream is? That's number one. Number two, let's say you're staying wherever it is that you're staying. How are the chances that you would just know who this person is? Oh yeah, this person's children go to the same school or class with my children. Like, off the top of your head, you'll be like, oh, I know. For me, I don't believe this story whatsoever. I really truly do not believe this story whatsoever. Because for me, I'm even asking myself, like, how does he enter when it comes to this tendering and everything? And let me tell you something. I'm gonna just say this in passing, because I think that maybe someone will be like, oh, you're biased. It's fine, I'm biased. They can come out here and show me proof that Mkhwanazi has done crimes, and I will still say, listen, that is our Mkhwanazi, and I would truly trust and believe in that man for as far as it rides, because at the end of the day, for us to even be here, it's because he took a stand. He took a stand. If not, this country was still going to be continuing with this corruption that has been happening. The 2 billion tender, I doubt, would have been found. So many things that have been happening. So for me, Mkhwanazi is somebody that really honestly stood up and said, I'm going to stand up against corruption, you know. So I don't care what they say, but for me, I feel like he's just trying to throw him under the bus, because you cannot tell me that you were there and you never said anything about Mkhunu. Like, for me, that is tangible. It's like Mr. Mkuku is like innocent. Trust me. So again, if it's gonna be continued tomorrow and also Friday, we will hear exactly his connections with those. But one person that I would tell you guys here that he did not spare, it was 1,000% Bheki Cele, who has now allegedly been lied under oath. He's being accused of lying under oath, and it is so unfortunate, because there's like, what, I think, if I'm not mistaken, there were records that came out saying that there were phone calls that were exchanged between Cele and Kat Malala that were over 100. Was it 100 calls or 100 messages? And it's now to a point where Kat Malala himself is saying that this man was calling so much, literally wanting money, to a point where I had to stop taking his calls. And him allegedly receiving 300,000 rands in cash. The unfortunate part now is that if they are able to can actually, let's say, get that, you know, he says that the time that he gave him this money, it was the time that Cele was in one of his properties, and which is something that Cele has actually agreed. He didn't refuse that he has, you know, stayed at one of Kat Matlala's properties. If they can go to the bank records and they can be able to prove that a day after, right, or around that time, Kat was able to go and withdraw the money, and the time he withdrew cash, hundreds of thousands, matches the date that Bheki Cele would be at one of his properties, I think that would be submitted as proof and evidence. And again, having someone saying, yes, I gave you, and perhaps maybe they might even have, like, you know, CCTV footage of him, 300,000 rands. Unfortunately, I think in cash it's a lot of money, but if it was to come and sit here, it'd probably be like this. Like, money is so weird, because it would be like 300,000 rands, but when you look at it, it's like, it's not even, it doesn't look like that much, you know. But I think that if they can be able to, then Bheki Cele might actually really go to jail, because he will have just lied under oath. And I think that Julius Malema just wanted to make that such a huge point. He asked, are you saying that Bheki Cele lied under oath? And Kat Malala was like, that's exactly what I'm saying. So at this point, I doubt that Bheki Cele is going to have a good night's sleep, because it's bad, it's bad. Okay, it's really, really bad. And yeah, it's really bad. It's quite sad, you know. It really honestly is quite sad, because for me, I am looking at this, and as much as, you know, I think we're still going to get more and more and more, Kat Malala was definitely, in my personal opinion, also victimized. You know that thing where it's like you have got a lot of money but you are lacking peace because of everything that is basically happening around. I do believe that, you know, he was definitely forced and backed into a corner, that he has to have these high ranking officials to help him and shield him, but at a price of a lot of money. I honestly truly do believe that. You know, and it's so sad because our law officials should be people that actually just abide by the law, and it's so unfortunate that they end up being the ones that are actually breaking the law. And there's something that happened that I saw and I was like, very interesting, of the fact that, you know, when they were saying that no, speak, you know, we will protect, like, you're protected here, whatever you say here is not going to be used against you. Kat was still very much convinced to say that they are going to use it against me. I know that they're going to find ways, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. And I think it's because he's speaking from knowledge, from experience, that they will go to the, like, they will find ways to get you if they want to get you. And that is the most unfortunate part. And one of the reasons why I stay away from politics and I don't do research, I don't talk about this stuff, is because I just know how corrupt. They will arrest you for telling the truth. Unfortunately, they have that much power. The law in South Africa is not for everyone. Like, that is why majority of people that have money barely get arrested, unless if you piss off the right people, or should I say the wrong people at the top. Those that have both money and power more than you, then you are definitely going to suffer. Do I think that it's a coincidence that he stopped taking Bheki Cele's calls and stopped paying him, and not so long after that he got arrested? 1,000% not. I really truly just do not. I really truly do not believe that. It's just coincidental. Already he was having problems. He claims that, you know, they were about to cancel his contract and everything. The conversation that he claims happened with General Mukwana, in my personal opinion, I don't believe it. I don't believe that it happened. But anyway, you know, to each their own. But yeah, you can go ahead and comment down below what you guys think of this whole situation. Again, as I'm saying, I feel like I caught it somewhere maybe an hour or two in, and then going forth, and then I just said and had to listen. It was quite long. It was like a 6-hour live stream. You should just imagine how long that is. But does seem like tomorrow he is going to be coming back. But and you know what is the craziest thing, guys? Like, all these allegations that are being thrown against, like, Bheki Cele, they don't even shock me. They don't even shock me. I don't know why, but they don't even shock me, you know. But anyway, let's hope and know. Let's hope that, you know, we're gonna get more information tomorrow when it comes to this. And yeah, we will hear exactly what is going on. From Owamie, I love you guys. I know that, you know, I think that it's too late now. Probably this video will just come out tomorrow morning. So it will be happening today, and I hope that we will hear, because I'm finishing to record this and it's already 9:30. When am I gonna edit? When am I gonna upload? I don't want to give you guys a video too late, so I think it will be one of those that will come very early tomorrow morning. And yeah, from Owamie, I love you guys. Stay blessed, and I will see you guys in my next episode. Oh, the other thing again that I have to say is that with this tender, Kat was for me. He says it's not a front, but in my personal opinion, I feel like it's a front. How are you applying and then getting a tender for a company that doesn't even belong to you? It belongs to some white people. Who are the real criminals in this whole thing, guys? This is still going to get deeper. But anyway, go to comment down below what you guys think. From Owamie, I love you guys. Stay blessed. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next upload. Bye, Ninja.